G'day there, it's New Zealand naturopath Eric Backer, author of Candida Crusher and formulator of Canxida, the Candida dietary supplements. Thanks for checking out my video. Another case history today. I'm going to talk about a 55-year-old lady called Linda from New Zealand. Linda and her husband co-own a business. So, they run a business together. They've got a manufacturing company. They've got several staff. I think they've got about 8 or 9 staff that work in this business. Linda came to me with major adrenal exhaustion, just completely burnt out. She was a very, very tired person. She also had thrush, bloating, gas, and many other symptoms, and she had major constipation as well. So, very busy person. I've known her husband for some time now. They're a lovely couple, and this woman has been working, full-time in the business now for some time. She's got very little downtime. So, I've always found it, particularly the last several years of my practice, important to address the causes of people's problems. Now, you've probably heard all this before. Treat the cause, not the symptoms. But when you've got a skill set as a practitioner, this is my 27th year now, you tend to really look at people as very individual cases. You've got to really look underneath the covers, read between the lines, so to speak. Every single new case I see is incredible. It's a whole new life story. And when you've seen, tens of thousands of patients, you've heard many thousands of life stories. And you also come to identify people as being very unique. There are no two people alike. Therefore, it's impossible to give a similar kind of advice to every single person. You can do that, like a lot of websites do and a lot of practitioners and doctors do, but you're going to get very average results. And you're going to find that a lot of these patients are going to drift from one doctor to another. Patients that I see at this part in my career, some of them have been to 30 or 40 doctors. They've been to 20 naturopaths and chiropractors. And I find that the advice that's given to them can range from, the sublime to the ridiculous. Some of the advice given by even most highly experienced practitioners I see, it tends to be very piecemeal. It just tends to be, well, let's treat this symptom today, or let's give this pill. Now, in Linda's case, the best advice I gave her, what do you think that was? Do you think it was dietary advice? Do you think it was supplement advice? What do you think it was? Do you think it was doing a test on this patient? Do you think it was getting this patient back 10 times and scalping her for money? What do you think it was? The best advice I gave Linda was, for goodness sakes, get yourself a personal assistant. Get a lady in there who does what you do, okay? Now, Linda is one of these perfectionist kind of people who believes that nobody can do the job like her. Well, as I mentioned to Linda, what would happen if she had a heart attack tomorrow or a car crash and she couldn't go into a job? What would happen if she fell down the stair and she broke a leg and she was, laid off for a couple of months? What would happen to the business? And she looked at me and she said, you know what, Eric, I've never thought about that. And I said, Linda, everybody is replaceable. Nobody is going to be, a Mr. or Mrs. Perfect where they can't be replaced. Even if you find a lady who can do 75% of what you can do, the business is going to be able to run. And besides, the other thing I said to Linda, when did you and your husband, Alan, last take a holiday? And she said, well, probably 10 years ago. I said, that's a lot of crap. You guys need to go on holiday every year, all right? Now, they've got plenty of money, but like a lot of people who built up a business, they really believe that the business is them. Well, I've got something to tell you guys out there. You're all going to die one day, and it doesn't really matter how long you've worked for. As they say, nobody on their deathbed wishes that they worked longer and harder, So in Linda's case, basically telling her to get a PA was a very clever move. Excuse me. Because I can immediately see Linda looking at me and thinking, well, that's not what a doctor says. A doctor doesn't usually give business advice. Well, a practitioner will give any kind of advice that's going to help the patient improve his or her outcome. Because what we are as practitioners, we're problem solvers, okay? We solve people's problems, not just their health problems, but we're also confidants. We hear confidential information. We hear business information. We hear relationship information. We hear all kinds of information. So we have to really think outside the square if we want to get a good result. We've had an outstanding result with Linda. Linda came back excited about 6 weeks later, and she said to me, you know what? The best thing I ever did was get this lady in the office, because now I can get up in the morning and go for a walk with the dog. Now I can do other things during the day, like, go to exercise classes. I can plan when I'm going to eat. I'm not stuck in the office all day. And I said to her, and guess what the other advantage is? Now you can work on the business rather than in the business. You can actually make more money and have more downtime. And that's when she realised that she should have done this a long, long time ago. So you might think, well, what the hell is this case study to do? There's no diet talk, there's no supplement talk, there's no test talk, there's no... Well, I can tell you now, when you're a practitioner, all you're looking for is to get a really good result with a patient. You're looking to improve that patient's health and lifestyle. And that's exactly what we did with Linda. Linda's marriage has improved, her business has improved, her health has improved, everything's improved because she was able to relinquish control of the business and get someone else involved. The other interesting aspect of this exercise is I've now had Linda and her husband in for consultation, and her husband's also starting to understand that he too needs to be, have someone else in who can run the workshop. So he's actually going to get a really good foreman in now to be in charge. So as a couple, they can take a lot of time out and plan how they can spend their retirement together, because this guy's in his late 50s, she's in her mid 50s. So it's time to think about these things if you've been running a business for a long time. So Linda's constipation is vastly improved because she's now had time to shop, to eat properly, and to cook, and to relax a lot more. So I expect that the adrenal fatigue is going to pick up, and within 6 months it'll be gone. Thanks for tuning in.